Let's talk Raptors. Zach, we encourage people to look at your Raptors piece before our last break. And big point of emphasis in the story was how they developed the pieces that became the best bench in the league this season. My favorite quote of the story was, "Holy hell, the bench."
Love the bench.
From Zach Lowe. This quote, though, from Dwayne Casey was great. He said, quote, "I'm still looking for the manual that says you have to play 8 guys come playoff time. Until someone shows me otherwise, we are going to be who we are." Zach, how much confidence did the Raptors seem to have in their bench, especially at a time when benches don't come into play as much during the postseason?
I think they're right. Play the bench. The bench has been killing people all year. And one thing Dwayne told me that didn't make the story is, like, they're used to playing against starters, right? Because that's what's going to happen in the playoffs is the other team shortens its rotation. But other teams have been taking their great bench into account all season and putting starters on the floor earlier, so they've seen good competition. Now, there will be games when it's like Pascal Siakam has missed 6 wide-open threes in a row. Can we really have him out there? Is Jakob Poeltl going to get calls from the refs when he's going to the rim and he's 22 years old? Like, there will be games where it's not working, and Dwayne's going to have a moment of introspection.
First of all, what a great job Coach Casey's done, with this team. And you talk about them developing guys on that bench. But I agree, like, keep that extended roster going. Guess what it does to the other team? It's more defensive assignments. It's more things to look for.
That's interesting.
And for our team, guess what it does? It keeps my best players fresh. It keeps us fresh, not only mentally but physically. So if you have the luxury of having a deep, really deep bench, use it. Use it, at least for as long as you can.
I mean, part of the issue in Toronto in previous seasons has been getting Kyle and DeMar to really trust their teammates to take fellow starters, not just the bench players. Chauncey, how difficult is that? Is a regular season of success going to be enough for them to feel differently once they get in the playoffs than they have maybe in previous years?
Well, it's difficult to do. Obviously, playoffs and to win series, most of the times you have to depend on your stars, right? You got an all-star backcourt. Kyle's had his troubles in the playoffs in recent years, as has DeMar, which suggests, hey, we got a bench to take some pressure off of these guys. But you want your pressure on the stars, right? You want your guys, they gotta be stars. That's why they made the All-Star game. That's why they played on that Sunday of All-Star weekend. So I just think you gotta lean heavily on these 2 guys naturally anyway. And that also takes some pressure off of these guys that you don't want to depend too much on your bench. Your bench is not what's going to win you the games and get you to another series. The stars will.
Right.
But they can keep the ship sailing.
He's right. Sometimes we overcomplicate this, right? Like the Raptors, first of all, have not been as bad in the playoffs as everyone thinks they have been. Their offense has been bad.
The game ones has been what's kind of tilted.
It's an annual tradition. They should just throw game 1. They should just throw game 1 to start it off right.
Are they're 0-9 in game 1s?
They just will never win game 1.
They'll win game 1 this year.
This year they will. All right, right here on the jump. Raptors, you're getting game 1. But what about DeMar DeRozan, Zach? Where did you get a sense his head is at?
It's just, I think he's in a great place. There are a few guys in the league, as a person, as a player, as a worker, that are more impressive than DeMar DeRozan. Just through everything, he is working. He's getting better every year. But he's right. Chauncey's right. Like, we can talk about the bench and this and that. Like, your stars have to make shots. And Kyle and DeMar, just historically, have 2 of the biggest fall-offs from regular season shooting percentage to playoff shooting percentage of any, like, all-star level players ever in the history of the league. They can't get as far as they want if that continues. Like, they just have to make shots.
Mr. Big Shot? Is that easier said than done? How much does that get in your head? Have you ever had a time where you just couldn't get the ball in the basket?
Oh, sure. I've had a lot of times where I've gone through slumps. But I was smart enough to manufacture points other ways, get fouled, get on the free throw line, or just I was happy enough facilitating for guys. So we all will go through slumps.
Right.
It just sucks sometimes when it happens in the playoffs. But, they've had their troubles. But I'm telling you, that team is different this year, to your point.
I think they're ready.
That team is different this year. I'm loving the leadership that Kyle and DeMar has displayed, and I just think they're different. I think they're going to make a long run.
It's going to be so interesting in the postseason. We got into this discussion yesterday. I said the Cavaliers have to try to avoid the Raptors in the second round. You said the Raptors want to avoid the Cavaliers in the second round.
They won't say that.
We'll have to see. We're going to see how this goes.